they get the pretty much the kick start they want. If they want to hit C 10 times in a row and it works 10 times in a row and it's a 10-2 finish, then they have to move into the second half and show how they can defend. We'll of course get to see, but considering Boogermen find that advantage, that coin flip advantage, RNG, you know, bless them, that might be a problem for BBG, but we'll have to see.
Well, and you mentioned a little bit earlier about how we were watching and what the strategy normally is. BBG gave TSM plenty to think about on this map. It was 13-10 in favor of TSM, but BBG stood strong. They were able to trade a couple of rounds with them and keep it interesting up until the very end. And remember, folks, this was also the map in which Bjor went bananas. And again, it was up against TSM, so you need... I would love for him to, again, and this feels like an unfair ask, given how the last map went and how well he played, and unfortunately not enough out of BBG, but if you're Bjor, you've got to have a repeat, or honestly, a better performance.
Well, we're seeing now the rotations come in for BBG. robwiz gets a little maybe too active, and Welshy, well, does there anything need to be said? As he's just going to find multiple picks on BBG. Critical will be able to at least answer back. And of course, as the spike is taking, BBG are hunting for the picks, but maybe they're biting off too much that they can't exact chew all the way through. Fo, the last member standing. The classic burst works out, but he's down to 13, and he's up against a Sova. I don't know how many shock darts are available, but it doesn't matter because the shot to the dome is good enough, and it'll put Boogermen up on the first round.
Well, and I think the interesting thing, as you mentioned, was how BBG chose to play that, right? Like, they had the site. The Boogermen were off the site, and I want to be very clear, I'm not suggesting that that meant all BBG needed to do was defuse it and they'd be fine, because the Boogermen were set up in a place to be able to provide fire onto the spike. But BBG, knowing that, pushed the pedal to the metal. They went aggressively, they tried to get the kills, and it went sideways after that. Very interesting to note, BBG are forcing up here. They're bringing similar guns to the second round.
BBG do not want to let the Boogermen get off to the start that they want. And unfortunately, this is going to be a very costly round if they cannot put the pieces together. Built by gamers. Pretty standard setup, 2 to the C site, 2 to the A site, utility in the middle. The Boogermen, I'm going to be very surprised if I see a lot of B site hits out of them. They could also work their way up through Link. That's a standard play. You set up the B site hit, but then you kind of give us some tomfoolery and you work through Link, and then you come in from the defenders, where normally the defenders would come in onto the A side, and that would really catch a lot of players like robwiz, I think, off guard. Sometimes BBG, we've seen them extend their neck out with the lurks, and sometimes those lurks haven't always worked out, but they're setting up for maybe a B-side fake. But Andersin has been here, or sorry, maybe not Andersin, but Fo has been here the whole time, and now as they start to rush in, robwiz is going to fall, but we'll see if Will can survive. So far, he's looking like he can, but there's a player that comes in from behind. Doesn't even need that support. It's down to the 3v4, and the lurk is coming into play with the player coming in from behind. It's Bjor.
Yeah, but the problem is it looks like it's Andersin who's going to be waiting. Oh my gosh, I don't know that he heard him, but Bjor certainly heard Andersin. They're going to flood onto the site. It's a straight up 3v4. Critical gets dropped down with a nice two-piece. Bjor's the last one standing. Has a stinger. Remember, they forced up here. They wanted to push the situation. They did not want to force something, or they did not want to find themselves in a situation where they give Boogermen the lead that they were looking for, but this is not looking good.
Yeah, Bjor will at least nullify some of that economy, but as you highlighted, they forced up on this round, looking to try to stop the bleeding early. But now they don't even get that third round gun round. They're going to be sitting out till that fourth round, and we already saw in that previous map, once Boogermen got off to a hot start, they were sitting at map point, and they were just sitting pretty. Now imagine a world, I know that the Slimy Boogermen aren't exactly signed, but BBG have put their neck out, sign these players, and put this team at the forefront. Imagine being eliminated by the Slimy Boogermen. Now, TSM I can understand, and I don't want to discredit BBG at all. Like, this is a fantastic roster. robwiz pops off. Bjor was a cornerstone for the Immortals roster at one point or another. Like, this is a good team. And not to mention Critical, a part of the Mama Mode Gaming success train. But you fall to the Boogermen? That would be a statement piece in and of itself. This built by gamers roster has amazing pieces from different rosters of past.
And I think another thing to keep in mind as we're still in the opening moments, the early rounds of this map, the last time we saw the Slimy Boogermen on Haven, it was against Cloud9 Blue, and they beat them 13-9. It's not like they beat up Vancouver, Elated, or Most Prolific, or one of those lower tier teams. That was Cloud9. So the Boogermen obviously are very comfortable on this map. They've shown that they can hang with the best of the best here. Built by Gamers, off to a slow start. Things are going perfectly for the Boogermen.
Spike planted.
And it will continue to do so. Welshy playing a pretty solid 50 there, sees the tip of the iceberg and manages to swing accordingly. And Will just trying to brute force his way through. He's like, I'm going to make it through the smoke, and I'm going to find success. Unfortunately, will not be the case. Intox, the only one to fall, while there's even still a player on the Boogermen roster that hasn't fallen yet. Once we see the scoreboard, we'll see who that player is. I think I saw it briefly. 4-0 is one of the Boogermen. But, you know, as we said during one of the breaks, I know that a lot of people might be memeing. It's Dev, actually. That's currently hasn't fallen yet. I know that there's memes about the Slimy Boogermen, like, what a name for a roster. But it beats saying TWAT, which used to be the Envy roster. Together we are terrific. It beats saying that. So I'll take the Slimy Boogermen over TWAT any day of the week.
Oh, I would have to wholeheartedly agree with you, Simo. The Boogermen up 3 here. BBG is going to be able to bring guns into this round. They're going to have rifles. I believe robwiz has an operator as well. Going to be holding down the middle of site critical, able to get a critical pick in the opening moments of the round as Andersin is sitting on the sidelines for the rest of it. No ultimates available for either squad as we get closer and closer to the 1 minute mark here, and the spike leaning towards A but has not committed at all.
Super important round here for BBG. If you lose this one, you're in probably the toughest spot that you could ever ask for. But Bjor now has to escape. He doesn't find that pick. I think he finds somebody dangerously low, but now it's the 4v4. We do hear those op shots come out here from BBG. But Instinct is playing close contact, an important 50 that Will needs to find himself in, but unfortunately does not anticipate a cheeky little Jett hiding in the corner there. It's down to the 3v4, looking for another frag. Was Instinct, but he's got to get out of that tough situation. robwiz gets onto the site, and just as he gets on, he will also fall down. It's down to the 2v3 foe, pushing in. Oops, he's a cheeky little Cypher, finds the frag, down to the 1v1. Doable for BBG. And he just sees a player on the side, but Dev swings! Oh, well played. He wanted to get behind the box so that foe thought he was playing in that cubby still, that he was locked up there, that the smoke was not going to allow him to push in. But look at that, 4 in a row. BBG lose the gun round after they forced up on the second. This is a horrible start to Haven.
Oh, it absolutely is. They're in financial shambles. And again, Dev at 7-0 in that 1v1, able to clutch it out. He's having himself a field day against the boys in blue. The Slimy Boogermen are giving them everything that they could handle. I mentioned earlier on the first map that it was the Boogermen that weren't able to stop a nosebleed, and my, the tables have turned. It's built by gamers who can't do anything for the Boogermen right now. And the Boogermen at this point are at a position where they can just take their pick of the litter, and it's a high degree of success no matter what.
I think we see a little bit more as to why that bind map was banned. It seems like Haven is still relatively comfortable for the Boogermen. I mean, we only have 1 map to go off of. And, you know, at least for this round, we're seeing a lot of similar complexity matches. Remember when we saw complexity kind of pushing up relatively aggressively, we're seeing something similar for BBG, but they're on the eco. They don't really have a lot to work with. They're just trying to make it a little bit expensive for the Boogermen to catch them in some awkward positions. So far, it's going to be a standard retake here for Built by Gamers. I don't think they have a lot to work with, though. Andersin's going to find 3 on the round. Will is still going to make it hurt, and he's going to try to dismiss back onto the site. Smokes are going down. He's got to go in blind. He drops down, breaks his ankles, and Welshy will help seal the deal on his fate with a headshot to the dome. Boogermen up by 5. BBG need an answer back in this upcoming round.
Yeah, or you run the risk of this. I mean, this is already a less than ideal start, but you really run the risk of a train wreck situation here for Built by Gamers if you aren't able to pull this one out. The Boogermen are up big. They've got money to blow. Dev is sitting on 8,700 credits. folks. He can do whatever the heck he wants for the next 2 or 3 rounds without even thinking twice about it. If you're built by gamers, that you've got to do something different here. You've got to find a different way to make things work. It looks like the Boogermen are trying to play over onto the C site. You mentioned that it's often a conversation where people play more aggressively on the attacking side on C. Boogermen showed some presence there. They pushed a couple of people that way, but then they backed off. robwiz with the operator. 0-5, hasn't had a great start. Yeah, I love that. Hasn't had a great start, but still looking to get on the board.
I like that too. Smoking off the recon dart there. Dev is going to be in for a world of pain, but another smoke is going to bring them closer to robwiz. That's all that they could ask for. This is going to be the first, I think, C site hit of the round of the map. Sorry, been a lot of A site for the most part, but now they've conditioned them to believe that it's going to be A site after A site. robwiz in a little bit of trouble. Misses the first shot initially. 89 HP, but guess what? Paranoia is going to blind the entire right side of the site, and that's where robwiz was located. Now the spike's going down, and it's up to BBG to retake.
Yeah, and robwiz was just not in a position to get to safety, right? Like, in that situation, he's the only one on C. There's nobody close enough to support instantly. If he gets pushed, chances are he dies, and that's exactly how that went down. Yes, Will is able to trade it out. Andersin tries to telly into the smoke. He gets punished for it. It's instant. Also has an operator. As Boogermen are actually getting picked apart, it's critical. Who's able to get 2 huge kills? Welshy, the last one there. Critical with the 3K from downtown. Built by gamers are on the board.
Critical says, hold my white claw. I've got to deal with the pesky Cypher down C long. Gets off the spike. Sends him a valuable message. Says, yeah, I'm not letting you guys get round number 6. I got to stop the bleeding. Critical puts on the carry overalls and snaps him shut. That was an important round for BBG to win. And the Boogermen, yeah, they're sitting pretty at 5-1 there. But BBG needed something. They needed it. They desperately needed it because you don't want a 10-2. You definitely don't want an 11-1. I'll tell you that. But the fact that they've been able to at least stop the bleeding. Now we've got 6 rounds left to work with. Let's see what what else they can do.
Once again, an operator in the hands of robwiz. Not down C long this time. And as you see, the member of Built by Gamers that's hanging out over there taking a far more conservative position as well. It's critical. It's closer towards the spawn side if he finds himself in trouble. Boogermen have sent 2 members towards that courtyard area. One's going to be shoving his way up garage. Foe's going to get a chance. Foe's going to deliver. Welshy out.
Nice. They find another pick as well. robwiz playing towards that B site on the box. And that was unfortunate as well for Welshy. He was kind of slow moving there after the cyber cage, after he throws that and taking his weapon back out. He was a little stuck. If he had his gun open or his gun out, he might have been able to find a little bit more success. But we got to look at this A side hit now. The lockdown is going to stop it, but I think intox is just going to stick it. He doesn't care if he's going to get detained. They just want the credits for it. He's going to try to escape, and I think he should be able to. Oh, what a beautiful nano swarm. He's like, yeah, psych. And now it's down to the 3v4. One player's been detained. Instinct is going to help him out. They're defusing. They're sticking it. You think BBG fakes? The answer is no. Boogermen are going to just at least try to trade things out, but BBG find another round right underneath Boogermen's noses.
Simo, that was, with the exception of the site being different, almost the exact same situation that we saw in the opening round of this map. BBG, they had control of the spike area, but the Boogermen had backed off. Back into window, out of the front of B. BBG in the first round went aggressively. They tried going for the kills because they knew that the Boogermen could contest the spike well. This time, they just put up defenses and they try to sneak it away, and that's exactly what they do. They're able to pull it off, like you said, behind the defenses, behind the body shield, the smokes, the utility, everything to keep the diffuser safe. We mentioned how important that first round was. That's a big one as well. Now BBG are starting to get to a position where they can win one more round, potentially a second. I didn't get a good look at the economy, admittedly, but Boogermen have to be on the precipice of hurting financially here.
They're still, even if they lose this one, they're still going to get the 3rd round loss bonus, 2,900 a round. And the fact that they still, I think most members have 1,000 plus, means that losing this round, they will still be able to buy in the round following. And so for BBG, they've got this uphill battle that they've got to win several gun rounds in a row. And the fact that they've been able to win 2 in a row is a good and pretty sight. But the seaside hit that is upon us here for the Boogermen, there's nobody playing within the vicinity. Yes, Bjor is playing in the garage there. In C short, he gets paranoid, but he wasn't going to see anything anyways. He's sitting in a smoke for crying out loud. Now as he hops in, it's going to be unfortunate for the Boogermen. They're going to get picked apart. They do trade.
30 seconds
And
left.
there's a player that drops in. They still don't have the spike down. I'd imagine this is going to be the moment. We'll see how BBG retake the site.
Spike
You hear the
planted.
bullet term has been used, and it's going to be robwiz as he tries to be the tip of the spear onto the C site. He's able to get one. Foe joins in as well as members of BBG fall apart. Instinct all the way. Down C1 has the operator. You hear him pinging out exactly where the spike is in case somebody's trying to steal it away, but he's not going to get a chance. robwiz goes up. robwiz delivers the blades and wins the Jett on Jett fight. Built by Gamers, third round in a row.
Yeah, I just think the post-plant scenario for the Boogermen, the seaside hit works exceptionally well when you have time to get into those positions, but the fact that BBG never let them get in those positions, Boogermen never felt safe to get to see long and watch the spike from distance. They also weren't in the angle. You saw Instinct at the end there. He was, to be honest, on the wrong side of the angle if he wanted to get shots on the person defusing the spike. And so it wasn't really a favorable scenario for the Boogermen. BBG were able to stop the post-plant scenario and really honestly put themselves in a great position to win that round. And now we're going to be looking at potentially the last and final round for the Boogermen, an important one for them to win.
And they're investing, folks. You see the Blade Storm is available. The ult from Omen was there to try to get some information. You hear the Hunter's Fury is being used as well as they try to clear on the site. That's a big kill, but it's going to be traded in kind with the Hunter's Fury of its own, and he's going to get punished for it. Critical winning that duel. Boogermen and BBG have equal numbers here.
Welshy, first contact point pushing forward, sees the shoulder. robwiz, oh, robwiz, no! And a Cypher gauge to boot. Mo will trade it out. Unfortunately, he will get traded out in kind. It's all down to Bjor. The side hit does end up working out after some ultimate shenanigans. Unfortunate for robwiz. I think if he was, you know, anticipating somebody being on that side, I think he relied a lot on foe to play contact and deny. But Bjor's round is still not up. He's got a 1v2. If he can make them into individual 1v1s, it's going to be difficult since they have a crossfire set up, and the Lear is going to make it not any easier. He's got to focus on the Lear first, then he's got to focus on intox, and by the time he flicks, intox has already sent him to the grave. 3-6, Boogermen now lead by 3.
Yeah, and this is an interesting one for Built by Gamers. Bjor doesn't... All right, Bjor's going to buy down. Critical isn't going to have much as far as weaponry goes. He's going to be bringing the Sheriff and full armor here. Will's buying all the way down, and it's going to be full guns the rest of the way for the Boogermen. Furthermore, they have a neural theft, and they have the Empress to work with. Unfortunately, BBG has none of that at their disposal. They've put a little bit more on to see. That's a pick that you've got to get. You've got to get that if you're BBG.
I mean, it's a shoulder peek. It's a jump peek. It's not always going to be easy to land those. Especially when you don't have a lot of surface area to look at. Just get the shoulder, you just get that left arm. But robwiz is going to have another shot here as they manage to actually get the spike planted. robwiz is still alive. They'll tailwind out to safety, but look at the flank. They've got a lot of membership. The neural theft is going to see that they're all there. So far, foe is going to find one, but it's all down to the paranoia. Critical does get paranoid, but he's able to at least wait it out. Will shoot through the wall there, through the open doors, down to the 3v3. Retake still needs to happen here as Boogermen are playing offsite.
Once again, foe. Foe's just sitting there right on the outside of the smoke. He goes aggressive, but he didn't get it to half. They have a chance, but this is the play that they did in the first round, and this is why BBG went aggressive. This time, again, Dev playing in that window spot as a nuisance. He gets 3 on the round. He stops the defuse. Boogermen get a 7.
Okay, do you see what Dev was trying to do there? Did you see what he tried? Did you see it? Did you catch it?
Tell me.
That is like some old CS tactics. Like you throw your weapon to try to bait them out to shoot it. Like they'll shoot the first thing that they see. So he throws the classic to try to bait out a shot from Will there. But he doesn't bite. Will just goes straight for the spike and defuse it. He didn't have a lot of time left to defuse the spike, so he needed to move. But that was some cheeky play there from Dev. He still, I think, wins that 10 times out of 10. There wasn't that much time left. So now the Boogermen will lead by 4. we are nearing the end of this half. We'll see how many more rounds Boogermen can lay on if they can find themselves in a 9-3, or if BBG find themselves at the 7-5, which would probably be the best case scenario for them.
Absolutely the best case scenario, but it's not going to be an easy feat to get there. They have a couple of ultimates to work with, but that's not going to make it easy by any means. The Boogermen still have all the personnel in the world, and it looks like it's going to be lighter or soft buys for BBG. Play up. Going to get one. Will got the second one as well. Both members of Boogermen, on the A side taken out.
Boogermen a little bit in a tough spot here as BBG are able to deny that A side hit, and now they're going to start to funnel over, put their attention elsewhere. The B side's looking nice this time of year, but they're going to go over towards the C side. With caster vision, we know that is the safe way to go, and I think Boogermen sensed that as well. There was a lot of presence towards the A side, a lot of action, so now they'll at least be able to play the post plant. Really interested in where they're going to plant it. I thought Andersin for some reason had the spike, but he's going to play contact in the smoke. Unfortunately, he does get spotted out. That's such poor timing for him. It's all down to Dev. No shock darts, no Hunter's Fury, just a recon bolt and a dream in a 1v4. Let's see how he shapes up.
Well, you mentioned the recon bolt as being a part of things. It's not for long. Will's able to get the kill onto Dev. Built by Gamers are going to be able to defuse this. And folks, I want to just take a moment very quickly to remind everyone at what's at stake. This is an elimination match. This is game 3. One of these two insanely talented squads are being eliminated in a half, right? One half from now, one of these two teams is being sent home packing while the other one continues their tournament run. The stakes could not be greater here.
For the Boogermen, they started off incredibly hot and Built by Gamers had a fire extinguisher at the ready. Took a little bit of time to get it crack-a-lacking, but they managed to get it under control. And now we see a possibility of a 7-5 finish here for BBG, and it all stems on this round. Empress is available on both sides, and speak of the devil, that's going to get popped there on the BBG side. Will goes to personal. Andersin, you can smell him right there. Takes him down. Now it's down to the 5v4. The C-side hit is not going to work this time around as BBG have membership on site. Well, she's going to at least be able to answer back for some of that earlier pressure on the C-site, take out robwiz, and now we've got a 4v4.
Yeah, and he did so with a stinger, too. robwiz on the sideline for the rest of the half. The spike threatened by C. There was some presence outside of garage, as we see here. Phone Welshy still just kind of dancing around each other. Welshy severely injured, but the spike is actually going towards A. There's nobody home right now for BBG. Bjor has a turret, so there's something. But Boogermen are thinking about trading away, and surely that pick is going to dissuade them.
Yeah, last round of the half, Boogermen are just trying to find somewhere they can get that spike planted. 30 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be C. There's not much time left to rotate anywhere else. There's no portals. There's no shenanigans. This is a huge map, and that's going to be the Empress Bob. Intox is actually going to be able to gather a lot of information. See a player up there. Those shots won't connect. It's a 3v3, and now the Empress is perfectly timed for Intox. We saw it used earlier by Will, but Boogermen backed off. Now they plant towards long. Intox is going to find another pick and use the dismiss to get to safety as he now starts to repeat. Will gets dangerously low. The lockdown is going to push them away, but at what cost? They've lost so many of their members. They don't have any more smokes to defend this defuse. It's all down to Will now. He's trying to get involved, trying to fight, the good fight, but it's all down to critical. 26 HP in a dream. Those knives from distance will find their mark, and the Boogermen will finish the half 8-4.
Switching sides.
And that one went down to the wire for Built by Gamers, right? Like him getting that pick, Will getting that pick down C long, opened things up initially, but the Boogermen had one more there. Will wasn't able to get the kill that he needed. I think if that kill goes down, we're talking 7-5 here, but nonetheless, that's how the half goes down. The Boogermen, again, facing elimination, are able to establish themselves a 4-round lead as we go into the second half here on Haven. A strong start by the Boogermen. As you mentioned, they rattle off 5 rounds in a row. Dev is having himself a great map, as is Instinct. And unfortunately, if you're a fan of the Built by Gamers, you're certainly not in the position that you want to be. But now, on the attacking side, we've mentioned how statistics this how statistics tell a story on how this map is favored. Excuse me. But with the flexibility of Haven, you wonder if Built by Gamers are going to be able to create some room and get something going here.
It'll all be down to robwiz and Will, at least for this round, as they lead the charge on this A site. Tripwire and Cybercage will be activated. Tripwire will be taken down, rather. And at least for the time being, Built by Gamers don't have a lot of intel to who is there. They at least know that Cypher is playing on the A site. They haven't heard any other movement. Andersin is ready with the paranoia towards the long side, and that's actually where the spike is currently being taken over. Look at Instinct. He's going to be playing flank, as is Intox, at least for the time being. He's going to be playing contact towards the courtyard, but now as they start to rush in, a super important fight to hold, and it's not working out well for the Boogermen. They've already lost 2. Devil answered back with the very lucky kill through the smoke, and now the spike's being planted. Boogermen have to retake the site.
Yeah, you mentioned Instinct and you mentioned Intox. They're both now starting to show up to the party. They're going to be coming in from different sides, as it looks like they're going to wait for one another. Instinct has nothing but a classic to work with, and they know exactly where he is. That's going to buy them some time and potentially a little bit of room for Intox to work with. The leader goes out, the bullets are there, and the kill has been delivered. Foe is able to take care of Instinct, however, and that's going to drop things down to a 3v1 in favor of BBG, and the spike continues to tick away. Intox is going to have to bust a move here, and he's going to have to do so soon.
Fortunately, as the spike is ticking, I think he's just trying to buy time for as long as he can. Built by Gamers will be able to at least survive for the time being. They actually don't even need to. They'll be able to time that one out. Built by Gamers able to build up a little bit of their own momentum now, looking at a potential 6-8 start to this half. Boogermen will, of course, sit out this round and wait for the round to follow. But this is going to be a very interesting half. A lot on the line. You're eliminated here. You're going to have to go back home and fight in the UMG qualifier, I believe, next week. And that is, you're going to be chalking it up to NRG is going to be there, and Box is going to be there. A lot of scary teams still involved. And, of course, XSET, which was eliminated yesterday. A lot of great teams will be there. You do not want to chalk it up to that. You want to qualify out of the group, and it all boils down to this last half for these two teams.
Built by Gamers won the pistol. They have guns to work with, and they dash aggressively onto the A site. Bjor's able to get the opening frag. robwiz
planted
back, but Foe was there to trade it back out. Members of Built by Gamers have established their post-plant positions. It's Boogermen now, with the numbers disadvantage, trying to fight for this thing.
Revealing area.
Updraft to see who's on the site. They'll see one. Instinct almost gets taken down. Shots up above. Boogermen are going to be backing away here. Maybe looking for those exits as they funnel in from the long side. That's likely going to be the plan. I don't think they hear anything quite yet. We'll see how effective the Boogermen are here. If they can make this expensive, that is going to be worth their while. Now they'll see at least one. There's one more player there. Instinct, they could not have made it worth the while. Intox just trying to catch up is likely not going to make it there in time, especially with a shorty of all things. He'll do his best, and it was not good enough. This is the gun round. This is the round that we've been waiting for, and it all boils down to this. This is going to be the beginning of momentum for either side. We'll see if Boogermen can take this gun round.
The pistol, the following round, and we're down to 2. Built by Gamers here. They're not going to have the same guns to match with, but if they can somehow squeeze this round out and win this, they're set up financially for really the majority of this second half, but they've got to find a way to pull it off. Again, with the gun disadvantage that they have. The dart comes out. Instinct has to back off. And catches right around the corner. Okay, they know exactly where he is, but it doesn't matter. He's going to dismiss away with 30 health and somehow stays alive. There's the shock dart that finally takes him out. A 3v3, Simo.
Very spicy round. The Boogermen do not want to be losing this one. BBG would be more than happy to finally answer back on that third round conversion, which Boogermen have been so adamant about consistently winning. A great position for Welshy here. Criticals are going to be taken down, but BBG know that there's somebody playing back there, so Foe's going to double back. The camera is really the best friend here for Welshy. He cannot find that pick onto Foe. I think he was already injured at that point. And now, once again, back down to a 2v2. They're going to get that spike plant, but Dev's already here. Shock dart to at least deny the plant in default, but not a lot of time. Well, actually, there's a lot of time left. I thought it was already down to 20 seconds, but this round has been explosive from the jump. Spike likely now being planted. We'll see how Boogermen retake the site.
Spike planted.
If they can, a straight up
Revealing
2v2.
area.
Foe is weaker, but there's certainly still a chance. You hear the ult has been used to reposition from Foe as he gets behind members of the Boogermen. BBG is going to be pushing in from 2 frontier as they try to keep the spike down, as they try to get that thing to defuse, and as they try to bridge the gap down to 1. Bjor there delivers the shots. He's able to take care of Dev. Dev's going to be, excuse me, Instinct is going to be there in a 1v2, and he's not going to be around for long. Bjor once again delivers it, not just the kill, but the tee back to boot.
And what flavor is that? English breakfast? What? That was just, that had a little twang to it. Bjor was really feeling the moment. He's like, I am not letting you get out of this group. I'm going to take you down. But even so, still going to be some difficult opposition on the opposite side. I'd imagine tomorrow TSM statistically is going to be able to take down the Renegades. But if not, Built by Gamers are in for a world of hurt if TSM falls down to losers. We don't obviously all presume that's going to happen. It'll likely be BBG up against the Renegades. If BBG manage to win this one, T-Bags should be left for the playoffs when you're qualified and all safe and warm for the first strike major.
We mentioned how important confidence was, and that might have been exactly what the doctor ordered. The truth is, the end of that round was very risky. Foe had the spike, and he rushed onto A. Meanwhile, Bjor was still rotating all the way around. He almost dies. Once he gets onto the site, if he dies, there's no way Bjor gets onto the site, and is able to pick up the spike. So it was close, very, very close. But again, Built by Gamers were able to take care of business and get onto the site and defuse the situation. Now, it looked like they were considering pushing up Garage. We haven't seen a ton of that so far, but they're having second thoughts.
So far, BBG have just been trying to find a lucky shot, you know, spray through every penetrable surface, find some success. They find it pushing towards the A site. Andersin will sit this one up. We have to remind ourselves that the Boogermen don't really have a lot to work with this round. If they can find a couple of picks, upgrade to some weapons, then things change. But I don't presume that's happening because everyone's clumped together. They've got to break up, open onto the site. They got to drop down, but they're just going to walk in anyways. The trade has occurred. They're going to drop down with the Marshall as well. But it should be business as usual as we see before our very eyes. BBG tie us up 8-8. Gun round before us here for the Boogermen. Instinct picking up that operator, a heavy investment. If they lose this one, I'd imagine BBG are going to be able to get up to double digits, and that is going to be a scary sight for the Boogermen.
Man, and the resilience that Built by Gamers has shown, right? For them to lose the second map, for them to find themselves down 5-0 to open up this one and just have to like claw just to get to 8-4 at half, and then to come out of the second half 4 rounds in a row has just been really impressive. Built by Gamers refusing to go away without a fight, and that's exactly what we have on our hands here.
The hunt begins.
Built by Gamers more than happy to play the rotation game as they head over towards this C site. They're in for a slight awakening. There's a lot of utility there. Welshy's going to play contact, especially now that the cages are up. They can't push in. They paranoia the right side, which is standard, but they can't really push farther than the cages because those notifications will be made. Anybody that will be there that they can just spray through. But now they'll start to get a little bit more involved. They'll trade back and forth. They've got a counter paranoia, but Dev is going to put a recon bolt as it's quickly taken care of. Does not find anybody. But now Dev is like, okay, I see where everyone is now. It's down to a 3v2 as BBG have been able to get the spike down, and now the onus is on the Boogermen.
Talked about how important that operator was in the hands of Instinct. It's still a factor as intox. He makes his way forward. He's immediately going to get spotted into the last one there. You imagine he's going to try to keep the weapon into the next round as he tries to dash away to safety. Yeah, he's just running for the fences. He's going to carry the operator in. Ladies and gentlemen, Built by Gamers are going to take the lead.
You know, I highlighted that this is going to be a tough round to lose for the Boogermen in terms of you lose this one, you almost put BBG up to double digits. It's going to be potentially a 10-8 score line. Look at that juice. You know what that is? You know what that is? That little jar there?
Kind of scared
is-
to... I'm scared to guess.
Listen, when you're a sniper, you can't leave your post. Okay? You gotta... you
What you're saying is it's juice in case they get thirsty. Is
Yeah,
what you're
sure,
alluding to.
sure. I'll leave it up to I'll leave it up to your imagination. But listen, when you're a sniper, you can't leave your post. You gotta camp up. You gotta stay there. So
The Boogermen finally at a deficit. They haven't been in this position very much, and here they find themselves down one round on an eco. The operator's still in play, and it looks like the Slimy Boogies bought up a little bit. They've got a stinger, but Built by Gamers are going to try to work their way onto the A site. Andersin's not going to be around for long. There's that operator. It's important, and it's still in play.
unfortunately, Instinct though now smoked off. He's gonna maybe be looking to play a little bit closer to his heart. He is one away from the Blade Storm. If he can find a lucky shot here, maybe through the smoke, something like that, he can put himself in a position to updraft over and get a little bit more involved.
Whoa.
The Hunter's Fury is going to be used to try to clear out the hell side, but they haven't found anybody quite there yet. They will! The Stinger! Oh my goodness, Welshy! The lockdown is dropped, but now Built by Gamers are down to 2. Nobody's detained. That was the lockdown from Built by Gamers. BBG, they find 1. They find 2. Oh my goodness! Boogermen answer back on the Thrifty and tie us up 9-9.
They threw everything at Built by Gamers there. They had the operator, they invested the lockdown, they invested the Hunter's Fury, and they refused to let that round go by the wayside. It was so well played by the Boogermen to just straight up aggression their way onto the site to take care of business, and we're knotted back up at 9. These two teams refusing to give up an inch, again with elimination right around the corner. Neither squad willing to back down.
What an answer from the Boogermen. You thought BBG had that in the bag. The Hunter's Fury trying to clear out the Hellside, but they both fall to the Stinger. Man, that is so important to the success of that play. Built by Gamers would have been up to 10. And the gun round here, potentially, of course, if they win, it puts them up to 11. But like you said, Boogermen not willing to back down, willing to fight tooth and nail. This is a serious match. 9-9. Site hit's going to be on the A side. Spike's still not down, so we're still waiting for that to get planted. Now it's officially being dropped, and Boogermen are going to play the retake.
Oh my gosh, a straight up 5v5 here. The spike is down. All the action is going to be going on this site. The members of Boogermen are starting to rotate over as the cavalry arrives. Instinct this entire time has been smoked out. Finally gets to take a look and see what's going on below him. The Boogermen all going to be coming in from the same side. You see the Reyna from Built by Gamers around to try to catch a flank, but there's no flank there. Instinct gets down from the top ropes and is able to take somebody out, but critical gets 2. Instinct gets up close and personal. He's able to get it out, and there's carnage all over the site. The Boogermen fight back, and they take the lead again.
Wow. That is a scary, scary sight for BBG. Looking at the economy, though, it's not too bad. They can still kind of weather the storm, and the Boogermen are starting to get some credits of their own. Look at that, 8,200 as Instinct buys down. The economy is in a very interesting spot. If this round breaks for the Boogermen, Built by Gamers are going to be in a little bit of a tougher... Actually, no, they're actually going to be fine. So the economy is going to be pretty decent for the remaining, 5 rounds that we have. But it could just go down to one team winning over the other. This is close. The economy is not really a huge factor. Rounds are.
And Simo, I think the scary thing for Built by Gamers is that's the second time in a row the Boogermen have thrown everything behind a right punch and have caught Built by Gamers right in the chin. Like, they are fully investing everything. Every single round has all of it behind it. It's all going down to the wire, and that's twice now the Built by Gamers haven't been able to respond. They haven't been able to hold the site. We haven't seen a play on B, but again, it's going to be a 5v5 for the site.
Things have slowed down. Spike's been planted. Boogermen are trying to retake the site. They've made it on there. Smokes galore, denying the vision, and no one's going to start the defuse, but Andersin's going to come in from the side. Bjor's just holding strong. He loses that fight.
Oh, no.
Boogermen find 3 off the round. Critical will at least be able to answer back, but for how long? It's down to robwiz. He's going to find one through the smoke, has to reload the clip. He's down to 4, and he's down on the ground. Boogermen up by 2, and 2 away from moving on.
My goodness, how this map has really like spun out of control in the last 3 rounds. Things look so good. SLMY for BBG, they'd won 5 rounds in a row. The economy for the Slimy Boogermen was in the dumps, and then out of nowhere, they respond with such force, with such authority. And Built by Gamers have not been able to weather that storm. They're getting onto the sites, right? Like, they're getting the spike down, but the Boogermen are able to pick them apart time and time again. That's now 3 rounds in a row where they've been able to do that. Built by Gamers has to throw something different at him here, or they risk elimination.
This is a very scary round for Built by Gamers. The recon bolt spotted 4 heading towards that C site, so it actually gave Welshy a little bit of time to push up, get that ult orb, and now he has a pretty deep camera. I think he might have been able to get that a little bit earlier, but still, nevertheless, now that they start to funnel over towards this A site, the camera will likely spot them out if he decides to swap over to it. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. It's what I'm anticipating.
There it is.
But Boogermen have stacked a lot of their resources towards the C site in anticipation to that earlier play. But now Built by Gamers are just trying to play ring around the rosy, just trying to pull them back. But the Boogermen have never left the C site.
Yeah, they've stood strong. They didn't take any of the bait. Oh, and Instinct is going to get a chance to make this operator sing. How many is he going to be able to get? So far, none. He's going to drop a little bit of smoke and then reposition. He's got the shorty. Oh, no. He's able to get one. Dashes forward.
30
Not able to get the second. robwiz punishes him for getting aggressive, but Dev is able to get 2. The Boogermen just down to 2 members left. And who else on the side of BBG but Bjor? The heroics now being asked to deliver again. He drops things down to a 1v1 and Bjor does it again. Ladies and gentlemen, Built by Gamers, unreal.
Okay, I have to say, I really like what Instinct did there, because he knew that his win condition was, I gotta win with the shorty. He finds the first one, manages to reload, tailwinds over, and he's like, okay, I can find this, but robwiz takes him down, although Dev was on logs the entire time. So nobody paranoid him, nobody flashed him off, so he finds a 2-piece. Then it boils down, trade after trade, down to Bjor. He wins 2 individual 1v1s and secures the round for BBG. It's 10-11, and BBG are once again looking for this A site.
Bjor, we've sung his praises many a time, and that play right there is why, right? He won them that round. He is keeping things competitive, at least in that round. I know it's a team effort, but Bjor is playing very well here. Once again, BBG on the site. Once again, it's going to be a 5v5 juggernaut slug match for the site.
Fury once again to clear out the hell side. Nobody is there. In fact, they clear it out completely. I don't know if that's enough information for the Boogermen to say, okay, nobody is there. Oh, robwiz, that's so unfortunate. He's down for the count. They start to come on to the site. Dev is just doing what Dev does best. Take out the opposition. It's down to 2 final players for BBG. There's a lot of smokes on the site. That's another shorty play from Instinct, and the Boogermen are at map point, at series point, and tournament life for BBG.
Oh, and it was a flawless round. And that was the type of round that we had seen from Boogermen a couple of times this half, right? 3 of those 4 rounds, actually, all of them. Every single round that the Slimy Boogermen have won in this half have been like that. Just like absolute chaos, extreme force being displayed, and Built by Gamers haven't been able to really handle it. They were able to do something there on that 21st round. But that, again, was the Slimy Boogermen being very comfortable fighting for the retake. Built by Gamers on their final life here.
Yeah.
Oh, robwiz. Sorry, Instinct. Rob was doing the same thing in the previous half, though I initially thought, but they will back away. Actually, Critical's going to get taken down to 12 HP, and so is robwiz. He's relatively injured. This is not the start that you want for BBG. It all boils down to this round. It's our phenomenal observers, Jay, Pistachio, and Sapphire, give us this beautiful angle. The paranoia starts to come through. Andersin! Oh my goodness! The moon down finds 4. Devil finds the final, and it's a flawless round for the Boogermen. They move on, and BBG will fall.
And Andersin, here's the thing, 21 and 16 from Andersin. 4 of those were in the closing.